Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Stone Ridge Connect Community Conference and the Insight Work session, where we're going to be talking a little bit about our solutions for manufacturing and distribution. So, who are we? We've been around for about 10 years now, and we work globally with companies in the manufacturing distribution industries. We also cover a bit of retail and things like that. And we work with Stone Ridge to deploy all of these applications you see over at the right. So those are a lot of the applications that we offer for Business Central on-prem or in the cloud. Now, the cool thing is a number of these applications are actually free. They're no cost. So here's a sample of some of those free applications that we offer for Business Central. Now, these are available typically for Business Central Cloud. Some of them are available for on-prem if you have a subscription with one of our other products. But I'll give you a quick overview of a couple of these guys before we jump into the details. So Doc Extender, really everybody should have that. Just lets you easily drag and drop, documents into Business Central and can store them in SharePoint or right in Business Central. But if you use SharePoint, that gives you a pretty robust document management solution right from within Business Central as well. We'll talk a bit about the graphical scheduler for scheduling your production orders or whatever else you want to schedule within the system. And Ordership Express and WMS Express I'll talk about as well. But really, they're free products that give you a pretty comprehensive warehouse management and shipping solution at no cost. There's no registration for any of these. You just plug them in and start using them. All right, so let's talk, more specifically about the applications that we're dealing with in manufacturing distribution. So we're going to start with the distribution side, the fulfillment side, where, what we've got to start off that process when you're, trying to fulfill your orders, what we've got is the order fulfillment worksheet. And this is a cool tool that allows you to go in and automatically allocate the inventory you have on hand to your orders. So that it really answers the question, what can I ship today? And it'll tell you what you can ship today and then automatically generate your pick tickets or whatever else you need to execute those shipments. All right. Now, once we've decided what we're going to, pick today and generate the pick tickets, if you use them, all those sorts of things, we're going to then go and execute that in the warehouse. And we have two options for that. One is our full Warehouse Insight product, which is a subscription product, but it's got everything you need to manage anything from simple warehouses all the way up to the most advanced warehouses out there. And it runs on mobile devices, so you can go and scan and everything else. WMS Express is kind of the light version of that. It handles sort of the 4 key requirements that you have in most warehouses, and that's receiving, picking or shipping, bin-to-bin movements, and inventory counts. So if that's all you need to do with a handheld device and barcode scanning, WMS Express is the guy you want. It'll do all that. It's free. You plug it in and you use it. If you need more capabilities, you can move up to Warehouse Insight. So you can use these guys to scan, the barcodes on your items or print barcodes for your items to pick them, or you could just do paper picks. But once we've picked that product, the next step is getting it out the door. And for that, we either use Dynamic Ship or Ordership Express. So Ordership Express, again, that's that free guy that's going to let you, from a sales order, directly generate your shipping labels for a whole bunch of different carriers. So you can use 3 different carriers within Ordership Express of your choosing out of about 60 or so carriers that we support. So all the big guys, UPS, FedEx, guys like that we support. And you can generate your shipping labels directly from Business Central. It stores the cost in Business Central, and we can mark up the price for the customer. We get the tracking information, all of that, and it's just magically done. And again, it doesn't cost you anything. So that's great for people who don't ship a lot. Or it's also great for people who ship a ton of stuff, use 1 or 2 carriers consistently. Now, if you want to go up from there, Dynamic Ship is the full-fledged shipping solution with packaging interface, LTL support, automated emailing, all sorts of good stuff for managing your shipping environment. So that's the guy you'd use if you have more robust packaging and shipping requirements than what Ordership Express will provide. But both are good solutions. All right, so this is the fulfillment side. Now, the manufacturing side has some of these requirements as well, because if you build something, you got to get it out the door. But there's a lot more we have to do if we're doing manufacturing as well. So on the manufacturing side, we've got a few key applications there as well. So here, when we start with it, we've got the Enhanced Planning Pack. And that's really some additional tools that really simplify the planning process. So if you're using, the planning worksheet or requisition worksheet in Business Central today, you really need to look at the enhanced planning pack. It's going to make your life so much easier, gives you a better user interface for planning. It's got forecasting in there. It's got production analysis tools. It's got a whole bunch of goodies in there. It just makes your life that much easier and makes your use of Business Central that much nicer. All right. So anyway, we use the enhanced planning worksheet, which is part of the enhanced planning pack, to do our planning. Once we've done that, we want to send that information to the shop floor, but we need to schedule it. So for the scheduling, we've got two solutions. One is the graphical scheduler. That is a drag and drop scheduler. You plug it in, shows all your production orders. You can move them around, drag and drop it, and do whatever you want. And you've got a full featured manually scheduled tool there, or tool for manually scheduling production orders right there at your fingertips. However, if you've got a lot of production orders in the system, or if you have to do a lot of rescheduling, nobody wants to sit there dragging and dropping all day. So instead, we'd use MX APS. Now, MX APS is priced like this graphical scheduler is free, but MX APS is priced as, almost as good as free. It adds that much value. And what it does is it's an automated production scheduler. You hit a button and it goes and it says, this is what you can work on today, or this is what you can complete today. So it's a finite capacity scheduler that tells you exactly what you can get done, provides a schedule you can actually execute on the shop floor. So you hit a button, you've got a schedule, and they can work on it. And we can constrain that schedule by material availability, labor availability, tooling availability, all that kind of stuff as well, if you want to get more advanced. But in the simplest case, you hit a button and you get a schedule that you can work towards immediately. Now, once we've got that schedule we're working on, we need to capture information from the shop floor. And for that, we use Shop Floor Insight. Now, of course, you can use paper and the Business Central, production journals and all that kind of stuff. But Shop Floor Insight gives us that ability to record the information in real time from the shop floor. That includes time and attendance information, time against production orders, jobs, service orders, non-productive time, all that kind of stuff we can capture with Shop Floor Insight. Feeds it directly into Business Central, and then that can feed it back into our scheduling tools so that we know what was completed and we can schedule accordingly. Or you can just use it for costing or payroll or whatever you need. But Shop Floor Insight for capturing that shop floor time is really a must-have. Now, once we've scheduled it, executed it, we're going to get it out the door, and then we're going to use the same tools that we used in the fulfillment side, right? We're going to use the fulfillment worksheet to figure out, hey, this production order was just completed. There's a sales order that needs it. Let's ship that sucker out the door, and out it goes. And we can use Warehouse Insight for, picking that. And Warehouse Insight also does consumption and output and all sorts of things. Shop Floor Insight does that consumption and output as well. But if you want to use a mobile device and scan everything, we can do that with Warehouse Insight. And then, of course, finally, we're going to send that out to Dynamic Ship, which is going to allow you to send it via parcel or LTL carrier or whatever, or again, Order Ship Express if you don't need all the functionality that's available in Dynamic Ship. So those are, some of the key applications that we've got for those environments. So let's actually have a look at what those things look like. So I'm going to start by going into the fulfillment worksheet and I'm going to focus a little bit more on fulfillment than manufacturing because there's a lot of shared apps and requirements between manufacturing and distribution, right? If you manufacture something, you've got to get it out the door somehow. Otherwise, you're just filling up a warehouse for no good reason. Anyway, so I'm going to go into the order fulfillment worksheet to start. And what this allows you to do is come in and again, it answers that question, what can I ship today? So what it's doing is it's going in and it's dynamically allocating my available inventory to all the orders that are in the system. So for example, here I've got a transfer order, I've got some sales orders, and what it's doing is it's saying, hey, you can partially ship this order today if you like. And out of those items that you can partially ship, we can ship the full line quantity. So if you look down here are the lines on that sales order, and it's saying we don't have any stock of this guy. We've got 8 of these that we can actually pick in the warehouse. We're going to allocate 3 of these to this particular order, which means the next order that needs these 1151s is only going to have 5 to choose from. So what this essentially does is, eliminates reservations. You can still use reservations if you want, and you can actually reserve from the screen. But what this does is it's by default going by the earliest shipment date on that order and figuring out which inventory you can actually ship today. And again, once I run out of these 8 down this list, they just won't be available to ship. So the idea is I can run this, tells me what I can pick and ship. And then I can come in and say, you know what, show me only the available guys or whatever view you like. And I hit create picks, and it's going to go out and create all the pick tickets and everything I want. So if you're using warehouse picks or inventory picks, it'll create those. And it'll also create the warehouse shipments if you have warehouse shipments enabled. And if you don't have either of those enabled, you're just picking against the sales order, no problem. You can do that as well. You can come in and just print the pick instruction right from that sales order. And then you go out and pick it. Now, so once I've done that, and by the way, you can also run this automatically. So every half hour, this thing could run, and any new purchase orders that have come in or any new, product that's being output that's available to ship will just automatically show up, and we'll generate a pick ticket for that immediately. So you can run this in an automated manner or here manually. And again, by default, it goes by the planned shipment date, but I can do really anything I like there. I can come in and sort by the highest value order, or maybe filter to a specific shipping agent or something like that to decide what I'm actually going to create the picks for or ship out that day. Anyway, that's the fulfillment worksheet. Now, once I've created that pick, I want to go out in the warehouse and actually do the pick. So for that, what we're going to do is we're going to use this handheld device. And here's the screen from that handheld. So as I touch it there, you can see it go. And this guy here is running Warehouse Insights. So this is the full version of the product with all the goodies that you can do and even custom applications that are available. And these are installed from our add-on catalog. So all the applications and everything are managed right within Business Central. So if there's functionality that out of the box is not there, our add-on catalog may have that. You click a button and you can install another app or create an update to an existing application in the system, or create your own applications from scratch if you prefer. So you've got tons of options for that. Now, the WMS Express, the free product, looks basically the same. It's just limited to, as I mentioned, receiving, picking or shipping, and bin movements and inventory counts, right? So you've only got those four available, but it looks and works the same way. Now, in our case, normally I start with receiving, but given the time that we have today, I'm going to jump right into picking. So I've gone in, with the fulfillment worksheet, I've generated all my picks, and now what it's doing is it's loading up all the picks in the system. We can show only the ones that are assigned to me or all the picks in the system. Then I'm going to grab one of those pick tickets, open it up. And by the way, I'm using a physical keypad here. You don't have to do that. You can use a device that's, just a screen. I've got a little lag on this thing here, but that's okay. You can, use any device, tablet, whatever you like, wearables. We support all of that stuff. But here we are. Here's the pick document that's open. And now all I have to do is start scanning barcodes. Now, technically, you don't have to scan barcodes. You could set it up so that I could just manually enter everything I'm doing here. But I am actually going to scan barcodes. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm first going to identify the bin that I'm scanning at. Now, I've actually disabled that. By default, it forces you to scan the bin. I've disabled it so I don't have to scan the bin if I don't want. Oh, and if you don't have bins enabled, that's fine too. If you're in a smaller area or retail outlet or something like that, it just won't show you the bin column and you just go ahead and scan the items. But in my case, in my warehouse, I do have bins enabled, so I'm going to scan that bin. Now, what you see here are a bunch of barcodes I've generated using our barcode generator tool. I guess it's aptly named. And this is our sample barcode list that you can use to generate your own barcodes and things like that, your own labels, add barcodes to reports, whatever you want. And the barcode style you see here is called a data matrix barcode. We don't really care what the barcode is. It can be the typical linear barcode like this guy here, or data matrix. Data matrix are nice because they hold a lot of information, like we can fit item number, lot number, expiration date, quantity, unit of measure, all that stuff can fit in one little barcode about this size, right? Anyway, so if you're doing your own barcoding, these are good tools to use. And again, you can generate that right out of Business Central using our barcode generator tool. Now back to the scanning though, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to decide I want to pick from this bin 0201. I'm in aisle 2. That's where I want to start picking from. So I walk up to the bin, I scan the bin barcode, it identifies it at the bottom. We know which bin we're picking from. And then I simply scan the item that I'm picking out of that particular bin. So in this case, I'm going to scan this 1908-S barcode. And as soon as I do that, recognize it, optionally shows you the picture. Now that's kind of handy if you're doing your own barcoding, because if I scan that and shows me a chair and I've got whatever, a banana or something in my hand, I know I've got a problem with the barcode and I can fix that issue before it propagates all the way through the system. And now I've optionally got the ability to enter a quantity here. You can set this up so I'd have to, scan this item 4 times if you like, or it starts at 0, so I just have to type something in or whatever. But in my case, I just have it defaulting into the remaining quantity. So I can just hit enter on my physical keypad here or hit the OK button. And anyway, I hit enter and that updates Business Central in real time. And we now know we've picked that particular item. And that's all we have to do really to execute a BIC. We scan the item, optionally enter a quantity, and we're good to go. And it supports lot numbers, serial numbers, all of that kind of stuff as well. And there's a bunch of other goodies you can do in here. Like for example, if I wanted to come in and, drill down, like I can't find that item in that particular bin, I'm just going to hit a hotkey on my physical keypad there. I could have used the menu item. And it's going to drill down and show me all the details about that particular item. You can set color rules to change colors based on criteria you set. I went a little crazy with the colors and made them all green if there's a quantity in a bin. You can set up fact boxes. So there's all sorts of fact boxes you can enable either to show on the bottom of the screen or the right of the screen at different sizes. So like showing the image on a pick ticket or pick instructions or whatever you like. I could tap that to make it full screen, that sort of thing. So lots of stuff you can do for the user interface. But this drill down gives me, lots of context, a lot more insight into what's going into the warehouse, hence the Warehouse Insight name. A lot more insight into what's going in the warehouse. And I can use it to make decisions out there on the shop floor. So instead of running back into the office an hour later to try and read what I wrote on the back of my hand, I've got everything I need on this computer that I've got in my hand here, and I can make those decisions here. So anyway, lots of stuff. And you have full control over all of this stuff. You can change the menus, you can change the applications, you can do whatever you like right from within Business Central. So that's the basic, picking process. And everything works the same way. Whether I'm doing inventory counts, receiving all I scan an item, I optionally enter a quantity, and I'm good to go. So now let's say, I've finished doing my picks. I've got everything. It's ready to go out the door. So now I'm going to ship it. Now, technically, I can ship it from the handheld, right? You see the shipment application here. I could ship it from the handheld if I want, but I'm going to go into Business Central and do some shipping. Again, there's 2 ways we can ship within Business Central. One is the Order Ship Express, and that's the simplest, easiest way to do it. So we'll start with the Order Ship Express. So I'm going to go in there, and I'm going to go into my sales orders here. As soon as it opens up, everything's lagging a little slow here. So we're going to go into my sales orders, probably because I got the screen recording and all sorts of stuff going on that it's really slow. There we go. All right. So I'm going to open up my sales order. And it's going to show me what I need to ship out and everything else here in just a second. All right. So I have to ship some of these mountain bikes. If you're using Order Ship Express, it's dirt simple. I've got the sales order and I can do this crate shipping labels right from the sales order here, or I can do it from the sales order shipping screen, which is a standard Business Central screen, which kind of is more of a warehouse view for people shipping against sales orders. Now, if I want to ship these bikes, I simply come in here, say crate shipping labels. I'm going to choose the carrier. So I've got a couple set up here. I'm going to do, USPS, ground as an example, or parcel, let's say. USPS parcel. That's the carrier I'm going to choose. And if I want to see what it's going to cost me, I can hit get rate, and it'll tell me what it's going to cost me. Now, first, before I do that, I'm going to enter the package size that I'm shipping, 10 by 12 by 8 inches, and it's 8 pounds. And, I could use one of the predefined USPS boxes, right? Maybe one of those guys, and it'll default in a bunch of stuff for me for getting the rates. You know what? I'm actually going to clear that out just because I want to use these dimensions here. And now what I can do is I can, see, hey, what's this going to cost me to ship? So I could optionally hit that. It's going to go out to USPS using this and tell me what it's going to cost. And it's also going to tell me what we plan on charging the customer. So we're marking that up by a little bit of money for the customer. Maybe the customer says, well, that's expensive. How come? And it's, well, we've set it to be adult signature on this. It's like, you don't need a signature. Just what's it going to cost if I don't have to sign for it? Well, let's check that out. Oh, then it's only $8 to ship it to you. Great. Let's do that. Whether I'm just saying it doesn't have to be interactive, and I don't actually even have to hit this get rate. As soon as I've selected my carrier and indicated the number of parcels I'm shipping, like I'm just doing one here, but we could do multiple, of course. As soon as I've done that, I just say get label, and magically it's going to print a USPS or UPS or FedEx or whatever label you've selected, and I can ship it out the door. So what that's done is it's opened it up as a PDF. I print the label out and I'm good to go. Simple as that. Okay, so that is Order Ship Express. That's how you use that. And of course, Dynamic Ship does a whole bunch more as far as being able to package stuff and the LTL integration and all of those sorts of things. So that's the basic fulfillment process, right? I use Order Fulfillment Worksheet, generate my picks. I can use the handhelds to actually do that picking. And then I use Order Ship Express or Dynamic Ship to send it out the door. But let's briefly talk about some of the manufacturing capabilities. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the graphical scheduler. I'm in the shipping and receiving view here, so I don't see it by default. But the graphical scheduler, what that allows me to do is come in and view all of my production orders by default. And the production orders you're about to see here have been generated from a forecast. And that's actually using our enhanced forecasting worksheet. So we take all the sales history and we send it up to the AI system, Azure AI, so Microsoft Azure AI model, and it does the forecast for us. And then I've executed that forecast. Now this forecast was set for, everything was forecast for the same day. So you can see on this laser cutter, everything is scheduled for Friday afternoon. Well, that's not a good schedule. I can't execute that, right? You can see up here I've added, and by the way, you can change the colors, you can change the size of this, you can change the text that pops up, you can do anything you like. This is fully configurable, fully customizable just through configuring your views. So you can throw in whatever you like. And what I did was I threw in the machine loading percentages and totals and changed the color based on those values. And, clearly I couldn't execute the schedule like this. If I printed out all these production orders and said go, like they're all scheduled for the same day and time, that's not going to work. So what do? Well, I can grab this guy and I can, drag and drop him and put him on a specific machine or put him on a different day and all that kind of stuff. Who wants to do that? Nobody wants to do that because you're sitting here dragging and dropping all day to run your schedule. Nobody's going to do that. So what's the alternative? Well, the alternative is you simply hit this button, generate schedule, and I'm going to do, all my data is old. I'm going to do tomorrow at 8 a.m. We'll pretend that's tomorrow at 8 a.m. We're going to do a 30-day schedule. I'm going to hit go. And what this is going to do is it's going to go out. And for me, it takes about 30 seconds. That's about 60 production orders. If you've got 1,000 production orders, it'll take a few minutes to run. But it's going to go out and it's crunching all the numbers. And it's generating my production schedule, one that I can actually execute on the shop floor, right? So not the stuff that you're getting directly from Business Central that says do everything Friday afternoon. And by the way, these are all the schedules I've done since the beginning of time. And it tells me how many are going to be late, how many are going to be early, how many are going to be on time. You don't have that in Standard Business Central. And I can do scenarios. I can say, well, that doesn't look good. Let me add another shift, or let me outsource some of that work, and let's see what happens. And I can run a whole bunch of different scenarios. Now, if I want to see visually what this looks like, I just come in here and I hit, the graph, and it's going to show the graphical scheduler with the same production orders that we just saw. But now you notice on that laser cutter work center, it's chosen the best machine to run that work on. And it's not overloading. Nothing is now scheduled Friday afternoon. It's actually started from 8 a.m., tomorrow. Pretend this was tomorrow, 8 a.m. tomorrow. And it's told me what I actually need to run. And this purple is the setup time and the green is the runtime. So we can also do setup elimination. If you're running multiple parts simultaneously or similar parts back to back, we'll eliminate that setup time. And more than that, we'll pull orders ahead in time so that we can proactively eliminate setup times and things like that. And what this is doing is it's automatically choosing the right machines to run this work on, and it's showing me the relationship between the operations and everything else. And it can choose alternate machines, right? So, this guy here, the long bracket, you can see long, normally runs on this 10-foot machine, but at some point that 10-foot machine gets too busy and we'll choose an alternate machine to run it on. Even if this costs more or takes longer to do that work, it'll make that an intelligent decision to choose an alternate machine. So there's tons of good stuff in this MX APS, and that's all it took. I hit a button, bang, I've got my schedule. this is now available for the shop floor to actually work against, right? They know, start on this one, then do this one, and so on. And then using the shop floor insight, they can actually go in and record their actual times and their output and everything else. And the next time we run the schedule, it's going to take that into account and schedule things accordingly, right? So there's tons of different things we can do. Actually, while I'm here, I'll just also mention, labor constraints. So here at 4 p.m., I used to have 2 people on shift at the welding. At 4 p.m., I lose one of them. So now I can only schedule 1 production order in welding. Even though I have 2 welding areas, I've only got enough labor to do 1 production order at a time. So we can constrain by labor, material, tooling, electricity price, whatever the heck you want to use as a constraint, we can, and we can manage that schedule. But if you go into AppSource, install MXAPS, if your routings are in decent shape, you hit generate production schedule and you'll get a schedule. That's it. You don't actually even need to do any additional setup in order to have this work. Now you can if you want to constrain by things and that sort of thing, but very quick and simple to get it up and running, but advanced enough that it can handle the most complex production environments out there. Like we've got billion-dollar parts plants running this exact tool. All right. So that's a little bit on the scheduling side and the shop floor insight where we're capturing the actual labor. I'm not going to show you that today, but we can have shared terminals out there. We can use handheld devices. We can use tablets, everything to capture that actual labor time and send it back into Business Central. One of the other quick things that I'll mention since I'm here and I've got 2 more minutes is, the barcode generator tool that I talked about earlier and the dock extender. So dock extender, what it does is it adds, this little icon here, and I can drag and drop any files I like in there, and it'll store it on SharePoint for me, or it'll store it directly within Business Central. And if you're using this, you can drag and drop into items or production orders, and then those documents are available to the people running in the shop. So if you have assembly diagrams or instructions, you can show them on the shop floor Insight interface just by dragging and dropping them in. And then on the barcode generator, I probably actually won't show you that just given the time constraints we have, but that allows you to actually go in. I lied, I'm going to show you. That allows you to go in and add barcodes to your reports. And you'll notice here the printer is pre-selected. If I hit print, it's actually going to print to that printer. That's because we're using our free print node connector tool that does the cloud printing with no additional user interaction required to select printers or print or anything like that. All right, so that's a little bit on some of the applications that we have for manufacturing and distribution. Let's go back in here. If you do have questions about these, you can go to our website, check it out. There's demo videos, detailed demo videos on every one of these applications, or contact your Stoneridge rep, and they will be happy to help you out or schedule a more in-depth demo or whatever you need to decide if these are the right tools for your environment. All right, with that, thanks everyone. Again, any questions, let us know.